Hey guys, welcome to Cuba and welcome to the Iberostar Coral level at Esmeralda. And I'm here to tell you we've had such a great time. I'm pretty sure that you will too. How about Excursion? So what about the service? So what about the service here at the Coral side at the Esmeralda? The service was simply phenomenal. The staff here work incredibly hard and they work incredibly long hours. Now I ended up bringing $200 US to tip, and so I didn't want to bring Canadian because I felt, of course, probably the same way you feel about the Canadian dollar, is that it's a little bit weaker. So we wanted to bring some US dollars. So we did that. We brought $200 in US currency in $1 bills, and every day I would count out several dollar bills, and then I would go to wherever I would go, whether it be the lobby bar, which was a very common bar for us after 5 p.m., or the snack bar, which was the most traveled bar for us during the day, because we didn't do as much beach time as we would have liked, just because it was a little bit windier and the sand tended to fly in our face a little bit. But we ultimately had access to all of the bars regardless, and we also used the cigar bar because their coffees were excellent. There's an Adrian special in there that you've got to try, and so simply phenomenal. But ultimately, when it came to the bars, they were very, very quick, very efficient. They didn't really run out of any drinks too much. They didn't have colas here and there, but I had extra cola myself. I brought some Coke Zero along with me, and I just used that as a backup plan when they ran out of cola, because they do run out of cola once in a while. And then if they did run out of cola, I just went ahead and maybe had a Spanish coffee or an iced coffee with brandy, or whatever concoction you prefer. If you just want straight up espresso or coffees, the coffees are phenomenal. If you just wanted some water, there's that too. They never ran out of that, of course. We never had any water issues while we were here, just so you know. We never ran out of water. We've heard from previous travelers that had happened, but that wasn't a resort problem. That was just an infrastructure problem, and that can be slow to resolve, especially when you're an hour and a half away from anything else. So yeah, I mean, the bars were very, very easily accessible. They really were great, and the service at those bars was amazing. They were friendly, they were fast, they were efficient, and they really worked hard. The snack bar is probably the busiest bar area in the entire resort here. What kind of beer is it? Crystal beer. Crystal? Yeah. I say entire like it's big. The Coral, as you know, is quite small. It doesn't take very long for you to walk from one side to the next. But the service level was very, very good and very efficient. I never ordered one thing that they missed. In other words, if I ordered something, I always got what I ordered. There was never any mistakes or problems. They were very, very quick, and I always gave them $1 or $2 US dollars per drink. That's my preference. Some people will tip once in the morning and they'll leave it at that, and they'll just continue to order. Sometimes I'll do, like I said, $1 or $2 every time I order, but that's just a personal preference. Over at the lobby bar, the service was phenomenal. Daniel, who works there, as he's probably internet famous by now, but Daniel works incredibly hard. I believe he works from 3 p.m. till 7 a.m. every day at that bar, and so be good to him, or we'll come and find you, because he's a super guy, and he really does a fantastic job. He always knows what to say, always seems to have a smile on his face. We really appreciated him. We became friends with him, as you will. You're going to become friends with a lot of the staff here because they're incredibly friendly. We just have a really good time. So the service is really above and beyond. We really appreciated them, and we know they appreciate us. And so it's a really great place to be if you're looking for some friendly quality service. How about excursions? Well, even though we were here for 7 days, we only did one excursion. Now, the reason for that is probably twofold. Number one, Cayo Cruz is a little bit removed from any central city or activities that may be available. So you are a little bit isolated as far as that goes. And getting to an excursion is going to be a challenge for you because of the distance. You're going to be traveling about an hour and a half to Cayo Coco from here. And so that's what we did. When we came in, we went ahead and we booked a catamaran experience at the Cayo Coco Marina, and we all shuffled into the bus and we drove the hour and a half over to the Cayo Coco Marina, where we jumped on a fantastic catamaran with open bar, and we really just enjoyed our time. So we boarded the bus around 8 o'clock in the morning. They wanted us to line up in the lobby, and we did that. We had to wait about 50 minutes or so before before the bus showed up. Then it was an hour and a half drive to the marina. It was air conditioned. You were able to open the windows, although they frowned on that. They'd rather for you to keep them closed. We made our ways to the boat, and then after a little briefing, we were off to the races along with all of the other catamarans out there. There are 2 catamarans. There are a large one, and then there's the small one. We ended up on the small one, but it was still comfortable enough for us to really enjoy our time. It was an open bar on board, and so there was beers, there was different kinds of mixes that you could have, and of course there was washroom facilities on board. There was no food on board, but that came after. We'll talk about that in a second. And then look at the water, guys. It was incredible. The view and the feeling and the sun, everything was simply perfect. We waited for a non-windy day. We looked ahead on the weather just to make sure that it was less wind that day, and we were able to really enjoy our time. There was no waves or anything like that. It was simply gorgeous. Then we made our way over to a beautiful section of water. As you can see here coming in, we could touch the bottom. It was about 5 feet deep, and you could see the fish, you could see sharks. Yes, we saw sharks, but they were harmless. And so ultimately, guys, bring some sunscreen. There's lots to do on board. Bring your music if you need to, but it was simply worth every penny. We loved it, and we'd do it again. It was a fantastic experience. The entire catamaran experience from start to finish, even though we had some troubles with the bus on the way back. It took us nearly 3 hours to travel back on the bus because of an overheating issue. I didn't hear anybody, and I mean anybody, complain one time. Not a word. Now, of course, we were exhausted after a long day out on the water, and then having our meal afterwards, because, by the way, there is a chicken and or lobster meal that is included in that catamaran experience. The buffet was really nice. You know, after a long day on the water, you can come back to the restaurant, which is right there at the Cayo Coco Marina. You could have yourself a glass of wine. The staff is always friendly, as you can see. Let's take a look at some of the food, guys. Now, keep in mind that they don't really want you to come back and have seconds of the lobster tail or the chicken, but you certainly can help yourself to some of the extras and the other things that are there. That's what we did. And so they have cheeses, they have different platters there, a little bit of the meats, of course, the hot dogs, and then there's the lobster tails that we had. Now, keep in mind there was no butter or anything like that. And of course the hot dogs. And then after you're done, you make your way back to the bus and off you go. So when you debark after being on the water all day, you walk back to the marina, and then you can jump in the buffet line and you can eat a lobster. It's a lobster tail, but you can eat lobster or a chicken meal. And then they've got a bar there as well. If you're so inclined after a long day on the water to continue with your beverage intake. But even after the meal, we were very, very well exhausted. We were so tired. We got on the bus, and once we hit the road, the bus had a few mechanical issues. We pulled over maybe 4 or 5 times. But I'm going to tell you this, I didn't hear one person complain. Not one person on the bus complained. They were still as happy as could be. And we just waited for the bus to cool down and keep on moving, and we got to our destination. And once we got back, all we could think about was how incredible and beautiful and amazing the entire experience was. So yeah, the catamaran experience with the buffet at the end absolutely was beautiful. This was not the one where you were swimming with the dolphins. We didn't do that one. We did the one just to sea cruise out in the open water, and it was amazing. It really was amazing. Whether you're doing it alone or whether you're doing it with a group of friends, I'll tell you, you will enjoy it. Bring some sunscreen because you're out on the water, and you can easily burn here as you're closer to the equator, obviously. but it was really a great time.
Next time on All Your Travels, we're going to go to the Cayo Cruz Marina, do a little bit of shopping, and show you around. Also, we're going to walk you through the VIP lounge at the Cayo Coco Airport, whether or not it's actually worth taking the extra money and paying the extra to be there. It's all happening next time on All Your Travels. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.